Hello friends, actually sorry for the interrupt. இன்னைக்கு வந்து கொஞ்சம் டெக்னிக்கல் டிலே ஆயிடுச்சு. ஸோ ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணும்போது ஐம் ரியலி சாரி ஃபார் தட். அண்ட் யா டியூஸ்டே ஈவினிங் ரைட், எப்பயுமே டியூஸ்டே ஈவினிங் வந்து கொஞ்சம் எனர்ஜியா இருக்கும்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. ஸோ அந்த எனர்ஜியோட இன்னைக்கு உங்க செஷனுக்கு வந்து நான் அவங்க எல்லாரையும் வந்து வெல்கம் பண்றேன். ஸோ பிஃபோர் கோயிங் டு த செஷன், யா வெல் மை நேம் இஸ் விக்னேஷ் அண்ட் ஐ எம் ஃப்ரம் லெட்ஸ் டாக் லெட்ஸ் கனெக்ட் ஹோஸ்டிங் டீம். ஸோ லெட்ஸ் டாக் லெட்ஸ் கனெக்ட் அப்படின்னா என்ன அப்படின்னு உங்களுக்கு சொல்ல நினைக்கிறேன். ஸோ இது வந்து ஒரு ஓப்பன் ஸ்டேஜ் பிளாட்ஃபார்ம். ஸோ இந்த பிளாட்ஃபார்ம்ல வந்து பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்ச எந்த வகையான நாலேஜா இருந்தாலும் நீங்க நம்மள மாதிரி இருக்கிற பீப்புள்ஸ் கிட்ட நீங்க ஷேர் பண்ணலாம். ஸோ அந்த அதுக்கு வந்து எந்த விதமான ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ஷன்ஸும் உங்களுக்கு கிடையாது. அதுக்கான இன்னைக்கு பர்ஃபெக்டா ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் தான் இன்னைக்கு நம்மளோட ஹோஸ்ட் பாரதி செந்தில்குமார். ஸோ நமக்காக அவங்களோட ரைட்டிங் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸை ரொம்ப நீட்டா அழகா நம்ம கிட்ட ஷேர் பண்றதுக்காக வந்திருக்காங்க. ஸோ ஐம் ரியலி வெல்கம் ஹர் டு அவர் ஃபேமிலி. ஸோ இன்னைக்கு உண்மையிலே செஷன் ரொம்ப கியூட் அண்ட் எக்ஸைட்டடா போகும் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறேன். அண்ட் உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது டவுட் இருந்தாலோ இல்லை ஏதாவது நீங்க கேட்கணும்னாலும் கண்டிப்பா நீங்க உங்ககிட்ட கேட்கலாம். அண்ட் ஷீ ஸ்பீக்கிங் இங்கிலீஷ் ஒன்லி. ஸோ உங்களுக்கு யாருக்காவது இங்கிலீஷ்ல ஏதாவது ப்ராப்ளம் இருந்தது அப்படின்னா நீங்க சாட் பாக்ஸ்ல வந்து உங்க கருத்துக்களை கொடுக்கலாம். ஸோ அவங்க வந்து யா சொல்லிக்கலாம். ஸோ வேற எதுவும் இல்லை இப்போதைக்கு, வேற எதுவும் இல்லை. பாரதி 6:10 ஆயிடுச்சு. கேன் யூ ஸ்டார்ட்?
Yes, Anna. Should I start? Should I share my screen? Yeah. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes ma, I can able to see. Participants உங்களோட கருத்துக்கள் வந்து நீங்க chat boxல வந்து சொல்லலாம். ஸோ ஸ்கிரீன் தெரியல, சவுண்ட் இல்லை, எது வந்தாலும் நீங்க chat boxல யூஸ் பண்ணி சொல்லலாம். ஸோ yeah, thank you. Yes ma, you can continue.
Good evening everybody, and thank you so much for coming today. And as all of you know, I'm Bharathi Senthilkumar, and today we're going to be discussing about writing. I named this as writing an expression because writing doesn't have a particular definition that it can be put under. So I just named it as an expression. And I intend to continue this as a process which will help you write a story at the end. And today we'll be talking about the different types of writing, the history of writing, and my journey with writing just a little bit. And so let's begin. I'll start with my journey. So my interest for writing started when I was 5 years old. It didn't start with a pen and a paper like everyone just started writing. For me, it started with books, and I read books a lot. I really enjoyed reading books. So I read it day and night. I read all the kinds of books that I really like, and I still do read a book. Now it has become a very integral part of my life, and I think that I can't live without books now because I've become very close with them. And since I went to a residential school, and the only way I could communicate with my family was through letters, and the way I recorded my days were through the journals I wrote. And first, at the starting, when I first started writing letters, I wasn't very good at communicating what I actually wanted to tell my parents about how I felt or what I wanted to actually convey to them. So I started with just putting more effort on trying to improve how I could say what I wanted to say. And at school, we also focused a great deal on writing. This helped me improve immensely with the different aspects of writing that are like grammar, punctuation, sentence formation, vocabulary, and describing, and many more things. So one fine morning in assembly, a few visitors were introduced, and they said that they are a publisher who will encourage young authors to publish their stories. And this gave me great joy because it was like a dream come true. I wanted to be like Roald Dahl and actually experience what it has been to be a published author and having everybody actually read my story. And then they said that we'll be having 3 test kind of things, and to select the young people who are actually capable of doing so. And for a moment, I actually paused. If I could do this, what if I'm not able to do this? And like, what if this is not my thing? But then I realized that if this is what I have to do, I can't stop at things like this. So I had to continue going. And I decided that I will start writing with my pen. And I started my journey with Quill Club writers who first helped me publish my story. And I really thank them, as my first story was with 28 other authors, and our book was named Homegrown Tales. Yeah, so let's get into the session on what is writing actually. So, as I said at the starting, writing can't have a definition because writing is different for everyone. Universally, it is accepted that writing is the process of using symbols that are letters of the alphabet, punctuation, and spaces to communicate thoughts and ideas in a readable form. Mm, but I think that the way I think of writing is expressive. Writing is a feeling, and writing is a sentence which completes your thoughts. Writing is a thought which fills your blank paper with amazing words. And writing is my first love, my way to express myself, and writing completes me in every movement. This is what writing is to me. It might be different for many people, and how they feel about writing also. The definition of writing, that is the dictionary definition, is writing is a medium of human communication that evolves the representation of language with symbols, and they are means of rendering a language into a form that can be reconstructional by other humans separated by time or space. I didn't really understand this the first time I read it, so I just thought that it is just a principal representation of language, like how people say what they're thinking. Many people confuse a literature with writing. They're quite similar, but the main difference is just that literature is generally as any body of written works that is written and produced in any country, language, or age for a specific purpose, such as information, education, or entertainment to the reader. It can be fictional or non-fictional in nature, meaning it can be real or not real also. But the difference between the writer and an author is that the writer writes or expresses ideas, concepts through the written world, that is through the writing, and the writer writes part of their occupation or creative expression, so they can earn out of it, or they just write what they think about it. But what an author does is the author's works are actually published, and the literary work. So they can write books, novels, short stories, poems, literary pieces, and many things. So it's just like writing is renders language visible, that is the language that is visible. And the importance of writing skills. Mm, Many people think that writing is very hard. At the starting, even I thought that it is not my thing because it is hard to start something new and then write out what you think. So you have to think more clearly. But writing skills are an important part of your communication, and they help you improve your communication, and they you can communicate your message with clarity and ease. So it just helps you say things more easily. You don't have to think more twice or thrice about what you're going to say, and the communication takes place for a far larger audience than face to face or on a call. What I mean by this is the communication. If you're writing a book and it's getting published, many people read it, not only the people who you know, not only the people who are in your friend circle, but people who you don't know or also read it, because it's like a public thing and they can get your message much more easier then instead of calling everybody or sending everybody a message. And writing equips us with communication and thinking skills, and writing expresses who we are as people. As people, we have many thoughts that we don't share outside, and something that we think for ourselves, and something that we say for other people so that they don't think anything bad about us. I've felt this a lot and often, but it just it helps me say who I am actually. Sometimes when I'm thinking and then I end up saying something else, that's not who I am. So when I'm writing, I really know what I'm writing. I can see what I'm writing. And that takes us to the next point, that writing fosters our ability to explain and refine our ideas to others and ourselves. And writing makes our thinking and learning visible and permanent. So just because you can see what you're doing, it just makes it more permanent. It increases knowledge and creativity and imagination, because when you read books, you get a lot of knowledge and different perspectives of maybe even just one thing. Writing is an interdisciplinary art. So, like, it's you can't just take on writing, but writing comes with the speaking and the language. Like I had said, if you don't have the language, you cannot communicate, because writing renders what the language has to say, or what you're thinking, that is in the language. But speaking, expressing yourself just the way it is without the medium of writing. So these three go hand in hand, I feel, somehow. And it just helps you get better at what you're trying to communicate. And now I just wanted to ask you guys a few questions. Could I? Are you guys ready? Um, okay. So the first question that I wanted to ask you is, what do you think is writing for you actually? You must have written at least something in your life, right? So what do you think is writing for you? You guys could answer in the chat box. Okay, expressing your thoughts. Okay, that's a very interesting view. So you express whatever you're thinking. That's also very personal. Uh, so you feel my inside heart. So you're connecting with yourself. Wow, that's so amazing. And writing is freedom of expression. Someone's saying something, but I can't hear it clearly.
சார் மறுபடியும் ஒரு தடவை சொல்லுங்க சார். ஓகேம்மா, நம்ம சாட் பாக்ஸ்ல பார்க்கலாம். மறுபடியும் சொன்னா கேட்கலாம்.
Okay, yes. Thank you so much for your responses. And many of you have different views of writing. Like, I wanted to go to the next question. That is, have you ever tried writing before? Writing your story or writing what you think about? Hey, Shishti, don't worry, it's okay. Oh, cool. Many people write. Wow, that's amazing. Okay. Based on thoughts that cross my mind. Wow, that's something that I would also like to try. Snippets based on thoughts and cross my mind. That's really great. I'll be moving on to the next part of the session. That is, oh, cool. Writing poems are really amazing. Articles, I really enjoy that personally also. A peep into the past. So we'll go on to how writing had come about. Yeah. How did writing come? So the first question that came to my mind was, who invented the first systems of writing? Like, it has to have a language and then many kinds of communication that has to be particular. And what did they look like? So did they look like the letters that we have today? That's A, B, C, D. Or have they changed over time? So did they evolve into what we see today? Or will they change also? So then it was a question of communication, right? First, when people didn't know how to say what they were thinking, so they did cave art, they were doing cave arts and other different kinds of things. But now I think there's no question, because look at the various social media platforms, so many things to communicate our what we think in many different ways. And I think this has made us open ourselves much more. And the ancient writing materials, that is stone, that is generally engraved, important text, and clay, and the wax. Wax was used in Rome. That is, a cap of wax was added on little slabs of wood, so you could write on them with a stylus. The stylus is something that many writing systems have used in the past, and wood and papyrus and parchment. I think we are all more familiar with the stone and the clay, because we see in most of our temples and the monuments in India, they have the engravements on the stone, like how they drew the whole Ramayana and other stuff. I think that is very interesting. And now we have only one, that is paper, that was invented in China in the in the second century AD, and it was introduced in the West at the 8th century only, and then it replaced parchment that we had seen in this slide. That is the parchment. It is made with leather. Monks wrote on it with a goose pen. They put one piece of parchment on another and tied them to make a cortex, the predecessor of our books. So just like the predecessor, now we move on to the paper. And the printing presses were then they came, and then paper became very popular. Everyone started using it. Now I think we also have other writing materials like this laptop, the documents, Word, and many other ways, blogs, to communicate of what we're thinking about. And what was writing used for? We saw many different materials that they had used for writing, but what was writing actually used for? How many sheep? Writing as an inventory. So the earliest of writings, they were used to count the property and how much land you had. So it was many, like how we use tally marks nowadays. I think that's how they had used in those times, how they used to keep record of their many things. And how the letters has evolved. This is only for A, and many of you must have known the many different ways how it started from a bull. I really didn't believe this, how A looked like a bull, and then it became to what we see today, and then the printing A. So the Sumerians were the first to invent the kind of writings. So they started with pictorial representations. So they, whatever they thought, they did it with pictures. So they kept record of taxes. They wrote down laws also. And this was, they were inhabited of Iraq. So they did on a clay tablet, I think. And then cuneiform, that is the first language, that is just pictographs, but they were simplified as straight lines. That is using a stylus, as we had seen before. And this was used in the East, and it was used till the early Bronze Age. It is a type of symbolic representation of writing in order to communicate. So it's just representations of symbols. But here I just wanted to raise a question. How many things could you represent with just pictures and symbols? Could you represent abstract ideas like happiness through these kind of symbols? I just wanted you to think about it as we move on to the next one, that is hieroglyphics. So Egypt's venture of writing. So this was the first formal writing system, and I think we've seen this in many places like the pyramids of Giza and the um, great sphinx. So they had more symbols than the Sumerians did, as many as 5,000. Can you believe trying to memorize 5,000 symbols? I find 26, I at least found 26 hard when I was small, but now this is 5,000. And they used it to represent almost everything. So they used it to represent a sound, syllable, or word, and even idea. These were sacred carvings. This is what I had questioned you guys before. So, what problems might you have if your writing system was one of the things, like how an I plus deer, if you were to how an I plus deer makes idea. So how they would decipher everything. Are you guys able to decipher the ones below? That is like the B plus the leaf that equals to the belief. Yeah. And can you draw every word as a picture? And which words can you think of that might be difficult to draw as a picture? Which words do you guys think that are difficult to be drawn as a picture? You guys could represent in the chat. Sealant. Sealant is, I think, something that they used in the olden days to seal the postcards. Yeah, expressions of feelings that I really thought. Animals, probably. So, animals, I don't know. Maybe animals were quite easy because remember we had started with the bull. Yeah, I'll let you think over this and move on to the next part of our pictures that we still use pictures. Like I think pictures mostly represent gestures and they use gestures and represent events and responses, but they don't represent language the way writing does. And that is what writing is. That is why writing has evolved. Um, yeah, that is why writing has evolved to the way that it is today, because we weren't able to represent the language. And that takes us. I'll move on to the next part of our session. That is the different styles of writing or the different types of writing. Um, so the different types of writing, there are many different types of writing, and I just put a few over here. There are many different types. We see the advertisements every day on the road, and even on the TV sometimes. And I feel the autobiography is a very nice type of writing because you explain about how your life is. And an example of an autobiography is this one, The Story of My Experiments with Truth, written by the father of a nation. I really like this book and I suggest all of you to read this. And the biography that someone else writes about a life and the many different things that are there. The comic strip is a very easy way of writing because it includes pictures and writing. So you don't really have to rack your brains to understand it like some Shakespeare thing, because comic strips are also containing pictures and they have speech bubbles which say what the characters are trying to say, and the mystery, the script for the dramas and plays. And science fiction is my favorite type of writing, where the subject science is used to describe imaginative ideas. I'll describe the first type of writing, that is letter writing. I had done this when I was small, and a letter is a written message that can be handwritten or printed on paper. It is usually sent to the recipient via mail or post in an envelope, although this is not a requirement as such. And any such message that is transferred via post is a letter, a written conversation between two parties. So I think the letter is the main thing, that is a conversation between two people, because you're not able to see them in the person. So you're writing out your conversation of thoughts. At school, we follow some chits. I think those are also a type of letter writing. Um, And here the other types, that is like thank you letter, the reference letter, application letter, introduction letter, and formal letter and the birthday letter. Many different types of letters. And the expository, this is the different types of writing, like the literary writing. So the expository writing's main purpose is to explain. So it explains stuff. It is like subject oriented writing style in which for authors focus on telling you about a given topic or subject without voicing their personal opinions. So they don't say what they actually think about it, but then they'll just describe the whole thing for you. Here I give a small example, that is, many people associate the taste of pumpkins with fall. In October, companies from Starbucks and McDonald's roll out their pumpkin flavored lattes in desserts. Here is how to make an easy pumpkin pie using only 5 ingredients. So it's just a process of how people taste pumpkins, associate the taste of pumpkins as fall, and they go on to tell you how to make pumpkin pies. The descriptive writing is something very similar to the expository, but here the author's, the writer's perspective of the event or the idea is said. So its main purpose is to describe something. It is a style of writing that focuses on describing a character or an event or a place in great detail, so you understand everything. I find this very hard sometimes because you see something and you see everything, but when you're writing it, you often assume a few things are also understood by the reader. But when you're editing and then you realize that you didn't mention something that's very important, that the dress was red, something like that. Here's an example, that is, in a good descriptive writing, the author will not say the vampire killed his lover, because that's just plain, and you just say that this happened. But he or she will change the sentence, focusing on one details or descriptions, like the bloody red-eyed vampire sunk his rust-colored teeth into the soft skin of his lover and ended her life. And you understand what exactly happened and how it all looked. That's what descriptive writing is. And persuasive writing is, the persuasive writing's main purpose is to convince, like to convince someone. Unlike the expository and the expository writing, the persuasive writing contains the opinions and biases of the author. To convince others to agree with the author's point of view, persuasive writing contains justifications and reasons. So it is completely only what the author thinks about something. And here the example I gave is about the Olympics, that is, following the 2012 Olympic Games hosted in London, the UK Trade and Investment Department reported a $9.9 billion boost to the economy. Although it is expensive to host the Olympics, if done right, they can provide real jobs and economic growth. This city should consider placing a bid to host the Olympics. So they want to continue hosting the Olympics. And I'll move on to the I'll move on to the next one, that is the narrative writing. So, narrative writing's main purpose is to tell a story, to explain, and this is what is mostly used. And the author will create different characters and tell you what happens to them. So, mostly while storytelling, also, you're telling a story and you create the different characters and you just make up a whole story, like spinning a story. And a person tells a story or event, has characters and dialogue, so it includes a lot of things, and it has a definite structure. So it has a beginning, the intervals, and the ending. So you introduce the different people and then the problem, and then how they resolve the problem with the solution. Often it has situations like actions, motivational events, and disputes or conflicts with their eventual solutions. So, how they move through the story, it's like a very flowing story. And here, the example I gave is it's just a small part of a story. So, I don't think that's a good idea, said Jalen. You never used to be such a girl, reported Oren, pushing open the door. Reluctantly, Jalen followed. So it explaining what had happened, the dialogue, and what had happened after the dialogue. The last type of writing that I would like to talk about is journal or diary writing. I think it is very important as it is a process of recording personal insights, reflections, and questions are assigned on personal topics. So journal writing like provide you with an opportunity to become more confident about your writing, because I at the starting many people think that their writing isn't so great or it is not just good enough, but you go on editing it and then it's not how it is supposed to be. So you just try to broaden your perspectives about topics and gather material for later essays and identify progress in writing. So you're writing continuously, so you see how you were writing few days ago, and then you see how you have changed in your writing. And actually you do change very fast because you see what you're doing and you see how you want to change it, and you overcome writing blocks. Writing blocks are often um, um, happens to authors and other writers because they're writing so much and then they don't know what to write about, so they have a writing block. But when you write journals, you have many ideas that you have each and every day, and you spend more time on self reflection, and you write without fear or criticism. This is very important because usually you think that someone else is going to read what you're going to say, and um, you want to make it proper, you want to make it clear. And here when you're writing to yourself, you write without fear of criticism, so no, you don't care about what anyone else is going to say. This is a very important type of writing. And an example of journal or diary writing is the diary of a young girl that is written by Anne Frank during the Nazis war and all of that. So she's written all of her thoughts very clearly that helped us understand what had happened in that time. So how you could go about writing a diary, because I really want to go do this. I really want all of you to do this. I just thought this would be an easy way to put it. So you write the date and then you address who you're writing to, just like a letter, but you're writing to your diary or yourself. So I usually write dear me, and the topic written in the first sentence. So what you did in the day is written in the first sentence. And one main thing is that you write in first person. There are three types of person, that is the first person, the second person, and the third person. So the first person is when you're writing your perspective of what happened. So you were in that place and you're writing, you're describing about what had happened over there. And second person is not you, but someone who was with you at that place. And the third person is someone outside. So maybe they read your article or something, and then they decide to do something that they understood, they write about. But here you're writing the first person and you write how it made you feel. So like you did something today and you write how it made you feel, and you have a supporting sentence about what you think. And you could honestly just write whatever you're thinking about, because no one else is going to read it, don't worry. And use emojis and doodles to convey your feelings, because I think many people have become very used to using all of these smiley faces and wings and everything with their emojis. And future hopes and expectations, so how you want tomorrow to be or how you want to shape your day. And then you sign off to show the end of the entry, and you could write your informal or casual slack. So I just wanted to tell you what you could go ahead to take your first step towards writing your story. So you should start reading a lot of books. You can write all kinds of books, blogs, recipes, and anything and everything that you fancy, that you really like and you think that you would enjoy. And maybe you could start with my blog. I've given you the link. I'll also share the link in the chat box. I just put a few stories that I had written earlier, and you must start writing your diary. Express yourself and enjoy yourself on everything that you want to talk about. And thank you so much. And I would also like to thank AHP for giving me so many amazing opportunities. I've learned a wide range of things from their sessions like coding, chess, and photography, short movie filming, and many things about education also. Thank you so much, AHP, for this amazing opportunity and your support. Thank you so much, everybody. Do you have any questions, comments?
Yes, for instance, now we are in end of session. So நீங்க கொஸ்டின் மியூட் பண்ணியே வந்து கேட்கலாம். ஸோ சாரி அன்மியூட் பண்ணி நீங்க வந்து உங்க கொஸ்டின்ஸை வந்து கேட்கலாம். இல்லை உங்க கருத்துக்கு சொல்றதா
Bharathi?
Yes.
It was a fantastic presentation. I'm totally in awe of the way in which you handled the topic. Just want to ask a quick, curious question. How did you choose this topic, and who really, motivated you? And you are an independent thinker. I know you personally, but
Yes. Mostly my mom. She's usually motivating me to do almost everything. But the main thing that I got motivated to do about writing, because it's a topic that I'm very comfortable with, and I'm doing almost every day. So I could handle and talk however I felt. So I didn't want to change on my mind.
But presentation with so much clarity and explanation and examples. I'm truly inspired.
Oh, that's so kind of you. Thank you.
No, dear, I'm just saying it from the heart.
Yeah.
Love you so much. Please continue to keep inspiring all of us.
Sure,
There's no
Akka,
age
thank
barrier
you.
as long as learning goes. So
Yes.
you're an young acharya for me. Yeah, so a lot of takeaways from you. So I'm so happy. I hope this is being recorded, because I couldn't really get to follow in the first 20 minutes because of the poor net connection.
Yes, it is recording.
Yeah, thank you so
there's
much.
a YouTube link also.
Yeah, I will share it also for all people who will be interested in this topic. More so coming from a youth like you, young kiddo like you. All the best.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Bharti. That was a beautifully professional done PPT. I'm so very proud of you. The only suggestion I would have for you is you could have just said a small story of your own beginning. Because what happens generally is when you have a PPT and you have a lot of data information, a lot of written information, then the tendency is to lose concentration. Because the attention span of most people is not very much. So you could have just given short stories in between. That's just a suggestion, but I feel that on the whole, you've done a very good professional job, and the way you've handled the entire thing and explaining very clearly is a great way to start, Bharti. And I'm just waiting to read your blog. So
yeah, sure. I'll share the link.
Yeah, and you are an extremely talented person. I'm sure you will do a wonderful job. And hopefully, one of these days, you're going to come stand in front of all of us and tell us the story.
Sure, we will. I will. I'll do one.
Okay. Looking forward to that, Bharti.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful job. So very confident.
Hello?
Yes, Anna.
Yes, okay, ma. It's really wonderful. இன்னைக்கு இந்த chat boxல பாக்குறீங்களா chat box? So yeah, many people உங்களுக்கு அங்க chat boxல விஷ் பண்ணிக்கிட்டு இருக்காங்க. So அதான் சொல்ல வந்தேன்.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Thank you so much. and I sent the link to my blog.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bharathi. I'm my screen வந்து visible இருக்கான்னு பார்த்து சொல்றீங்களா கொஞ்சம்?
தெரியுதுண்ணா.
Okay, just a minute. ஓகே பாரதி, தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச் பாரதி. ஆக்சுவலாக இது இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு வண்டர்ஃபுல்லான ஒரு செஷனை வந்து நானும் எக்ஸ்பெக்ட் பண்ணவே இல்லை. ரியலி இட்ஸ் ப்ரொஃபஷனல், ரொம்ப ப்ரொஃபஷனலாக இருந்துச்சு. ஸோ ஆல் த பெஸ்ட் ஃபார் யுவர் கரியர். அண்ட் நீங்கள் விஷ் பண்ணீங்க அப்படின்னா இதே மாதிரி ஒரு செஷனை கண்டிப்பாக உங்களால் கூட இன்னொரு நாளும் கொடுக்க முடிஞ்சா கொஞ்சம் நல்லா இருக்கும். நம்ம சீரிஸ் மாதிரி கொண்டு போகிறத பற்றி பேசணும்னு. ஸோ கண்டிப்பாக அதை பற்றி நீங்கள் யோசிச்சிங்கன்னா கொஞ்சம் நல்லா இருக்கும். ஒரு ஹம்பிள் ரெக்வஸ்ட் ஃப்ரம் அவர் டீம். ஸோ தேங்க்யூ ஃபார் யுவர் வண்டர்ஃபுல் ஜேர்னி. அண்ட் யா பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸ், இது வந்து நாளையான ஒரு செஷன். ஸோ நாளைக்கு வந்து நம்ம இதே டைம்ல வந்து ஒரு செஷன் வந்து கண்டக்ட் பண்றோம், டிராவல் அண்ட் ரூட்ஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஒரு டாபிக்ல. ஸோ உங்க ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் யாராவது டிராவலிங்ல இன்ட்ரெஸ்டடா இருந்தாலோ இல்ல அதை பத்தின இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் வேணும்னு கொஞ்சம் ஃபீல் பண்ணீங்கனாலோ நீங்க வந்து நம்ம வாட்ஸ்அப் குரூப்ல வந்து ஜாயின் பண்ணிக்கலாம். ஸோ இட் வில் ஹெல்ப் அஸ் போத். தேங்க்யூ. வேற எதாவது சொல்லணும்னா நீங்க சொல்லலாம்.
Arvind is here. I'm audible.
Yes, now audible.
Yeah, okay. Hi Bharathi, this is Arvind. A wonderful session because I was busy in my office work also, but I must join. I want to join because I am also writing books and stories for my podcasts on YouTube. So there will be some tips and information that will be some good in a way. So thank you so much. Need more sessions from you in LTLC. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
ஓகேடா. ஸோ உங்களுக்கு எதனா சொல்லணும் அப்படின்னா நீங்க சொல்லலாம், இல்லை பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸ் நீங்க ஏதாவது சொல்லணும்னு நினைச்சாலும் இப்போ சொல்லலாம். ஸோ என்னன்னா நம்ம என் பண்றதா இருந்தாலும் பண்ணிக்கலாம். தேங்க்யூ.
Thank you so much everybody for coming in, for your amazing motivation. I can't believe that I did so well, at least as all of you say. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your wonderful session. And yeah, so end பண்ணிக்கலாமா?
Thank you.
Okay ma, thank you ma, all the best dear. Thank you.